deputy. And I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm really not trying to imply that. But what bothered me was I saw a clip on the news the other night where Rick Bradshaw, the sheriff, was holding up the man's identification that said, I'm a cop, and therefore who would question him. And he holds up a black T-shirt that says, I don't know, Palm Beach County Sheriff's or Sheriff's Cop or Sheriff's SWAT or something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, do you know how easy it is to go get a T-shirt printed that looks like, you see people all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With T-shirts on that say security and all these various things.
Yep.
You can get anything printed on a T-shirt, and it can look pretty darned official. But that shirt that he held up said nothing official to me whatsoever. So if I was the guy that got shot, and this guy's out in our parking lot, and I go out to see what's up, and there becomes something of, I need to see some identification. You say you're this, and let me show,
Right.
And then I can see a heated exchange sort of building up. But the thought of wearing a black T-shirt that says I'm an undercover cop doesn't necessarily make it so.
What was the officer doing in the parking lot?
Well, that hasn't been said as far as I know. He was supposedly on official business, but that's about as close as they're getting to saying what he was doing there.
Right.
And initially,
it's not unusual for cops to pull off into businesses or things like that, parking lots, or you'll see them sitting at the end of the street.
They'll make some phone calls, write some reports.
Taking a break, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Right, Vic, you should fill out reports on the computer. That's not unusual at all for a cop to just pull into a business's parking lot and sit there.
But as a business owner, it want to get your radar up.
Especially if it was an unmarked car, sure, like it was in this case.
He probably wasn't sitting in the business area of the parking lot, but rather in that remote corner,
Right.
And these are the things that sort of get your radar up and you go after them. And I'm also aware of a report that said that he showed a badge.
Right.
But again, badges are awfully easy to get faked these days. There's just so much that a cop has for a uniform, and I'll never forget this. Years ago, I worked in a business, and there was a confrontation between the new business owner who had just bought the business from the previous business owner, and he felt like he got screwed. And he threw that guy out and said, don't come back to the door again. And the next thing we know, a few weeks later, the old owner shows up with a sheriff's deputy in tow and a locksmith. And he walks in and he says, I've got a court order. He's got papers in his hand. So I got a court order. I'm taking this place back right here and now. And he tells the locksmith, start changing all those locks in here, all that kind of stuff. So we got on the phone and called the new owner. He came back to the office and he walks in and he's buying the whole story until all of a sudden suddenly it just goes off on him and he goes, wait a minute. And he walks up to the sheriff's deputy and he says, stand still for a minute. He just walks all the way around him and he says, your uniform looks identical to a Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputy. Do you work for the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department? And the guy stood there in silence and looked at the former owner for a minute and he said, no, I don't. He says, are you a private hire? He says, yes, I am. He actually wore a mark for mark, patch for patch, seam for seam. It was identical. It lacked the proof of, the official logo.
He was a mall cop.
Wow.
And that was their whole claim to security was hire us because we look like the real thing.
Right. Sure.
Most people won't even know that we're not.
All right, now.
So that's how sad that whole story could have been. Just simply one of those. I'm not buying your story, mister. You're going to have to do better than that.
All right, hold on, Jerry. Got a call here from Andy. Yes, Andy. What's up?
If you give him bank 5, number 13.
Hi, Andy. Thank you.
5, number 13. Forget about it.
Yeah, no, he's not my brother, right?
See ya.
Thank you, Andy. I feel blessed.
All right, Jerry.
All right, guys. That's fun. Thanks.
All right, thank you, sir.
877-92.